Instagram feed going. There we go. And all right. I am Coach James. I am the creator and lead instructor for All About Aerodynamics, which is a science program where I use Hot Wheels cars to teach kindergarten through 6th grade students about a range of science and physics-related topics, including but not limited to friction, force, aerodynamics, drag, lift, Isaac Newton and his 3 laws of motion, kinetic energy, potential energy, what else? Elastic energy, elastic force, a whole range of topics. After we have covered all of the science topics, after we have conducted experiments to drive home those concepts, then and only then do I bring in about 400 different Hot Wheels cars. And each student has the opportunity to select a Hot Wheels car they think would be fastest in a series of races based on everything they've learned in the course. And just getting something straight. Then, once they have selected their Hot Wheels cars, they make observations, they weigh their cars, they test the speed of their cars, they check the year the car was manufactured, the materials the car is made of. After they do all of that, they've made all the observations, then we set up a 1/64th scale quarter-mile drag strip and the students race their cars and they observe how their cars perform. Did their cars perform up to or below their expectations? And if they had the opportunity, would they select those cars again, or would they make a different choice based on everything they've observed? So, in the end, we have fun with Hot Wheels cars, and we learn science. What could be better? But this is not all about aerodynamics. This is all about Aerodynamics Presents Wind Tunnel Wednesdays. So what is Wind Tunnel Wednesdays? Well, I have a Funtech Labs 1/64th scale wind tunnel, which means it's the perfect size to put Hot Wheels cars into. We turn it on, we see the airflow over, under, and around the cars, and we're able to gauge how much drag these cars are going to experience on our track. What do you mean? Well, on Saturdays, we have a tournament. We introduce new cars into the fleet, and you have the opportunity to select a car that you want to see race. We take all of those cars, the viewer picks, the cars that I've pulled out of storage, we race those cars, we have a tournament, and then we have a final winner. That final winning car gets the opportunity to go up against our fastest in fleet car. Our fastest in fleet car is currently this car. It is the Blitz Speeder. It is the fastest Hot Wheels car on the planet. It has not been defeated. Actually, it was defeated once last year. There was one point last year where this car actually was defeated. And it came back, it beat that car that beat it, and it hasn't looked back since. So it's been months and months. It's been probably 5 months at least that the Blitz Speeder has been our fastest in fleet car. And we are constantly looking for cars that can beat this one out. If you can find that car, then you will be a All About Aerodynamics at the Track Live legend. And how do you go about finding your car? Well, you go to that web address right there, AtTheTrack.live. Once you get there, you will have 3 options. There will be a YouTube stream link, a Twitch stream link, and the third link, the most important link, is the one that says choose your car. And if you select that link, you will be taken to this page. And on this page, all of the cars that are currently in the All About Aerodynamics at the Track Live fleet are listed. We are, at last count, we are up to how many? Let me take a look at the spreadsheet and I can tell you. We are up to 894 cars. There are 894 cars in the All About Aerodynamics at the Track Live fleet currently, and we will be adding more this Saturday. And when we do that, we will be inching closer to that 1,000 car mark, which we haven't hit yet, but that's not the point. The point is that there are 894 cars for you to choose from. You can select a car, and if that car can beat out all the other cars that are introduced, all the other cars that the other viewers have selected, Then you'll get a chance to take on the blitz speeder. And if by some chance you can beat the blitz speeder, again, you're going to be an All About Aerodynamics at the Track Live legend. And we will make sure to do something special, because right now trying to find a car that can beat the blitz speeder has been an exercise in futility. It's just that dominant. And there are reasons why it's so dominant, and that is part of what we can take a look at today when these cars are in the wind tunnel. Because there are three forces that are working against the cars. There is gravity, there is drag, and there is friction. And the gravity, it really comes into play. It depends on the weight of the car, which you can't determine by looking at these pictures. I mean, you can kind of guess if a car is really light or if it's really heavy, but most of the cars fall somewhere in between, and just looking at a picture isn't really going to help. But what you can do is take account of the amount of drag the car is going to face. And that's what happens when we put the cars in the wind tunnel. Because the faster an object moves through the air, the more drag is a factor. And that is one of the things that you want to try and limit and mitigate, so that your car can maintain speed for a longer period of time down the track. And the blitz speeder is the best at that. It has been to this point, reducing the amount of drag. And there are things that you're going to see when we put this car in the wind tunnel, that if you pick a car, you want to have a similar aerodynamic profile to the blitz speeder. Otherwise, you're probably not going to be able to beat this car, because especially what we see is toward the back end of the track, drag really impacts these cars and starts to slow certain cars down. And all of the cars are slowing down toward the back end of the track, but the blitz speeder less so. So again, if you go to AtTheTrack.live, you select the choose a car option, you can go down and you can find the car that you would like to race. But today, you can find the car that you would like to observe in the wind tunnel. So since the blitz speeder is our fastest in fleet car, it is always going to be the first car that we put into the wind tunnel. And we will switch over to the wind tunnel view. And we have the Windsible. So the company that makes the wind tunnel is called the Windsible. And this company also makes this thing, the Windsible, which is a 1/64th scale dyno and dynamometer, I believe. I always get tripped up on that. It's a dyno. Essentially, you can put the car on it and the wheels will spin. And this time we're going to use a different, it's still a blitz speeder. It's just one that I picked up recently. We had a race with this blitz speeder. And it was this blitz speeder versus the other blitz speeder that you saw, the Champion. And the Champion blitz speeder won the race, but the race was very close. And what it went to show and prove was that it is the shape and the design of the blitz speeder that is the reason why this car is so fast. It's not just that it is there's something special about that particular blitz speeder. No, it's the design. And when we crank this up, which you'll see, is it's able to minimize the impact of drag. And I think that after all of the races we've observed, that is probably the key factor. Yes, friction comes into play. The wheels are, rubbing against the track, but all the cars, their wheels are rubbing against the track, so there's no inherent advantage or disadvantage there, unless a car moves off to the side and gets a bad launch, in which case the wheels will scrape up a little bit against the side of the track, and that friction will work to slow the car down. So that is not what you want to see. But with this, let's see if we can get this Windsible working. It's been kind of hit or miss. It's a new product, and what it's supposed to do is get the wheels spinning. So turning it on there, and you can see it working. You have to adjust the rollers a bit. Let me move it up. And you have to get it pretty much lined up perfectly in order to get the wheels spinning properly. Because look at the back wheels. Definitely not spinning as fast as the front wheel. But if I move the car, if I move it back a little bit, then we get it spinning. So I think I just need to push this up just a little. You can adjust the rollers. That might be too far, but we're gonna see. Still not helping these back wheels spin any better. But one of the things with this Windsible is that while it does spin, what it does is the car will not stay. Oh, now I've got it too far, so let me push this back. You can adjust these rollers. You gotta get them just in the right space for each car. But what I am seeing happen is that, and this has been sort of a constant issue that I've had with this device, is that the cars move over to the side. And if I lift this up, you can probably see that if I take the car and I move it back to the center right here, it just drifts to the top, and that continues to happen. And so the problem is that it moves it off center from the smoke streams that are going to be coming out. And we will turn those on after I lock this down. And take a look at the blitz speeder in the wind tunnel. Alright. Let's get this going. And this blitz, the Windsible, which is the wind tunnel, was a new product. I backed the Kickstarter last year and just received it. So this is the first version of it. And right now we've got the airflow at 67 miles per hour, which is not much. So we're going to crank this up. Right now we're at 107 miles per hour. And sometimes we get some weird readings and responses. Sometimes the device says that we're out of the smoke fluid when we're clearly not. But for the most part, it's been a pretty good device. Now, I'm not so much sure that I like it. We're up to 147 miles per hour. Did I really like it all that much with the Windsible? Because what happened was, before we used the Windsible, the cars would sit a lot lower, and they would pretty much only interact with the first and second streams of smoke. Now with the Windsible, the cars are lifted up so that more of the streams come into play, but because the Windsible is here, the smoke streams are now hitting these rollers and creating more sort of visual interference, because that the smoke still has to go over, under, and around whatever's in front of it, in this case the rollers. So I think what I'm ultimately going to do is try and build something, just put something basic together that lifts the cars up but isn't as big as the Windsible, doesn't take up as much space, and therefore doesn't interfere with the flow of the smoke as much. So the other issue is that when I showed you the cars moving off center, well then that means that the smoke, because the smoke stream comes out right down the middle, and if the car is off center, then the airflow is only hitting that side of the car that's lined up with the smoke stream. So it's kind of an issue. Let's turn this up. 188 miles per hour. And what we're seeing also, and then it's hard to, we were getting a better sense of this before I put the Windsible in there, is that the airflow, what it does is it hits the front of this car and it comes up over the hood and to the windshield, up the windshield, across the roof line, and then off the back. And it's harder to see with the Windsible in place. Before it was pretty easy to see, but what happens is this airflow follows the body of the car and it doesn't detach from the body. What we'll see with some of the other cars that we may put in today is that usually when the air gets right around the roof line, it starts to detach from the body. And when it detaches from the body, it creates an area of low pressure. There's high pressure at the front, low pressure at the back, and ultimately that pressure drag is going to work against the forward momentum of the car. And when that happens, then it's going to just be another force that's trying to slow the car down. And like I said, it was easier to see before we put the Windsible in there. And I think I definitely am going to be removing the Windsible in the future because it's really just blocking the airflow at the bottom and creating more kind of visual distortion as the smoke pulls up and goes over there. Goes over these rollers. And it's just, I think we got a better view, a clearer view of what was happening before the Windsible was in place. We're up to 201 miles per hour. And I dialed it back down to 188. And the other problem, like I said, is that the Windsible is not necessarily centered up. And I can't do anything about it. Well, I can turn off the Windsible. So I'm going to come down, bring this speed down. Hey, Christopher, how you doing? And coming all the way down, turning this off. And the other thing is, the smoke, it leaves like a little bit of a residue, not an extreme amount, but let me turn this off. So see, if I keep the Windsible off, then I can definitely center the car. But when it's on, like I said, the car just moves to one side or the other. So if I move it back to the middle, even if I move it all the way to the left, eventually it just drifts off to the right. And that has happened with every car that I have put on the Windsible. And I don't really think there's a way for it to stop. And also, if I put a little bit of pressure on the back, then I can get the back wheel spinning faster. So it just, I don't know. It's something it's a good idea, but I'm not really all that happy with it in terms of the results that we've seen. So, yeah, that's not going to be. I'm not going to be using it in the future. I'm gonna have to build something to kind of perform a similar function, but just not this. It's too big. It's in the way. It just really isn't. It isn't doing what I thought it would do. And but I like the idea. I like the idea of it. But again, this execution. And I saw someone else who had one, and they posted, and I sent them a message, and they said they have the same problem. You move it here, it stays here, and then it just drifts to the right. And again, the reason why it's a problem is because the air comes out in the center. And if the car doesn't stay in the center, then the airflow is not going to be going over the center part of the car, which is where we get the most information. It's going to be going over the sides and the edges, and that's just not what we want. So I can move it all the way over here, and it just drifts on back to the right. And that happens every time. So I like the idea of this, but it's just not. It just isn't. It isn't what I wanted. Also, there's just on and off. There isn't. This doesn't regulate the speed. It's either on or it's off, and it doesn't matter how much you twist it and turn it. So that's just it. Hey Virgo, hey Roughshod, and Christopher, I've got all those cars picked and lined up. You have them all set up and all ready to go from the previous week. So let me see. I think this camera must have overheated at some point. I am also going to be changing the lights. I think maybe let's go over here and take a look at this Nissan that Christopher is considering. I'm also, I think with this camera, I can't figure out why this camera keeps overheating. So I'm thinking that because I have a light, like a spotlight right near it, and maybe it's heating up too much, and maybe that's heating up the camera. I don't know. But I have 5 others set up, and none of them are ever overheating, so I don't know what the deal is. But this is the car that Christopher has picked. Let me get it in focus. That might help. And pretty standard. I don't know. He's got 2 cars he's considering, a Bugatti and then this one. So we're going to throw this one into the wind tunnel and see what we've got. Is there a spoiler over the window? In the back, you mean? Right here? There is. Just like a little bit. You can see it right. Let me get it in focus. Right here, just a little bit. But with this car, I think, with it being a more standard kind of car, I think what we're going to see is that the smoke will pass all over the roof line. Carmen, does the smoke still work with the rollers off? Yes. So these aren't connected. The Windsible is a separate device. Like, you can buy this, and so up until about 2 weeks ago, we just had the car sitting on the floor of the Windsible, which is the wind tunnel, and we turn it on. And what would happen, and I'll go ahead and let's see if. So even with this one, like, the back wheels don't run. I mean, you have to get this thing set up and lined up perfectly, and it's not really designed to do that. So we're going to just keep the car, we'll have it on there, but we're not going to keep the wind going. So Carmen, so what we did is we used to have the cars just sitting on the floor, but then they would only be interacting with usually these first 2 smoke streams. So the idea of the Windsible, the Windsible, which is the dyno, was to raise the cars up into more of the stream so we could get more information and visually see a little bit more. That wasn't necessarily what happened. So we're up at 121 miles per hour, and it is just a lot more difficult to see what is happening, especially with the air separating. When we had the car sitting lower, it was much easier to see. What we tended to see was the air would hit the front of a car, come up over the hood, hit the windshield, go up to the roof line, and then somewhere around this area, the airflow would detach from the body of the car. And when that happens, it would just set up, it would create an area of lower pressure, and that area of low pressure combined with this high pressure in the front creates pressure drag that slows the car down. When we had the better view without the Windsible in the way, it was easy to see when that separation was occurring. Now, that we've raised this up, that it's raised up that high, we're not really getting the same clear look. Roughshod. Popsicle stick to the wall of the Windsible to hold the car further. Yeah, I think what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to just even go just even more like completely basic. And I think I'm just going to take two little like real small dowels, cut those, and just make them, I'll have four little setups, and I'll just place them under each one of the wheels, and it'll raise the cars up just a little bit, but it won't be this, because these rollers, that's the other thing I didn't think about. These rollers go all the way across, so really what they're doing is creating another object that the air has to move around. And so when this air is hitting these rollers, it's now coming up and it's kind of interfering with what we're seeing from the car as far as the aerodynamic profile. But this, again, the Windsible, it's a cool little idea, but it's just not helpful. And so the Windsible is only $35. The Windsible, I think last time I checked, it's about $240, something like that. And they have one at 1/18 scale and 1/24 scale that are huge, but those run like $600. And I don't know who the audience is for that, but this is what we get. So right now we're at 188 miles per hour. It's a little tough to see what we're getting here, but I think that we're still going to see with this car is the airflow is, there's a separation right in this area. And it's not as clear as it was and would be without the Windsible, but it's definitely happening. So let me slow this down a bit. And just in case anybody's asking, hey, well, why don't you just take the Windsible out? Well, that's easier said than done because I'll show you. So the Windsible there's a filter right back here behind the car. And this part is supposed to slide out. You like pull it and slide it out. As I said, I got in on the Kickstarter right at the beginning, and the version that I have of the Windsible is one of the first versions that they made. And what they told me in the Discord is that these first versions, they made this filter setup, it's too tight. And in order to get it out, I have to give it a lot of pressure. It will not just pull out. I have to put so much pressure on it that I was afraid I was going to break it. And so this part right here, it's got a little compartment. It's just supposed to slide out. And in order to get the Windsible in there, you have to slide this part out. You have to slide it out, then put the Windsible in there, then put this back in place. And the reason why I don't just take it out right now is because I have to use two hands. I have to brace the Windsible against something and really like pull this thing out. So next week, no more Windsible in the wind tunnel, and we'll have a more clear view of what's happening with the cars. This is the other one that Christopher is considering. It's going to be between that Nissan and this Bugatti. And if anybody else wants to select a car, I know I've got Roughshod Scorpedo lined up, and I've got another one from Never Ending. But anybody who wants to pick a car, just go to AtTheTrack.live. You will be taken to this page where we are up to 894 different cars that are cataloged and listed. If there's one that you want to see in the wind tunnel, you just take the number of the car. Let's say it is the let's say it's the 8 crate. For some reason you want to see this big station wagon in the wind tunnel. Well, you can click on it, take a closer look at it, say, yeah, that's the car I want to see. And you would take the number 149, drop it in the chat, and then I will pull it and we'll throw it in the wind tunnel and take a look. We are now looking at one of the cars that Christopher is considering, and a platform to raise the cars up lower than the Windsible. So the whole thing is that I don't want to put, what I'm realizing with the Windsible is that I don't want to put a platform in there because I don't want anything that stretches between the two wheels that interferes with the airflow. So I'm just going to put something under each of the 4 wheels to kind of lift it up, a little bit like what I've got here. So I just, slapped together this little plastic piece, only because this platform, this mirrored platform, it's not level. And if I just put the cars on there, then they roll off. As the thing turns, they just rolled off. So I just put a little bit of, got these little plastic pieces, put some glue on there, and now I just set the cars on that, and that's what I use. Now I wouldn't want to put this in the Windsible, because if I did, then what it would mean is that this part now is interfering with the airflow. So what I'm going to do is just make something similar to this, but cut it down so it's only as wide as the 2 tires. And then if it's only as wide as the 2 tires, the air can still flow between the tires and under the car, but now we're going to raise the car up a little bit. So that's, I think it'll be a quick, simple little project. But right now we're looking at this Bugatti, and it's got the wild diffuser in the back. And the thing that's interesting about the Bugattis and all these supercars and hypercars that are designed after real cars is that we know that the real cars are designed to control the airflow. And they have openings, and they have like their wings, and all the pieces on the car are designed to direct the airflow to either create downforce or improve the aerodynamics of the car. And with this one, what we see with a lot of Hot Wheels cars is they have the openings, but they're not actually open. So the air can't actually flow through the car like it can on the normal car. But this one actually has some openings. So like I can see that right back here, it's hard to see, but it's actually open. Now where the airflow, even this area, this is open. Typically on the Hot Wheels cars, it's not. So the air can actually flow through this. The wing design, all of that designed to control the airflow. This huge diffuser. Now, on the Hot Wheels cars, because the diffuser is really kind of decorative right here in the back and doesn't actually extend the way it would on an actual car, it's a little tough to tell. But we're gonna see with this Bugatti. See what happens here. Let me move this up. Yeah, that laying lowrider. That's a nice looking car. A bunch of the lowriders that I have, incredible paint jobs, but they usually don't have what it takes to do well on the track. Let's get this Bugatti in here. It's black. I also have to, with the Windsible, it's a matter of working on like the lighting situation, because especially when we have dark cars in here, they're a little tough to see, but you can see them a little better once the air starts to flow over, under and around. We're up to 121 miles per hour, and I think, like I said, with the Nissan and even with the Blitzspeeder, the Windsible is making it much more difficult to figure out what's going on, because you see all of this air right here. You can see this stream of air that's coming up right here. Well, that's air that is hitting the Windsible and then having to say, all right, we got to go over, under, and around. Can't go under because this thing is like, there's a little barrier there. So it's coming up over the top. And when that air comes up over the top, now it's just kind of obscuring whatever it is that we're trying to see, which is how the air is flowing over this car. But what I can tell you is that the airflow is pretty good. Again, it's similar to the blitz speeder, hitting the hood, coming up to that windshield, and then the top is pretty flat. There's no drop off really from the roof line. It just sort of extends out to that one piece of that fin that goes all the way back until it gets to that wing. So this is an interesting pick. Now, it has raced on the track. It's definitely raced on the track because any cars that are from number like 450, which is when we started At The Track Live, from 450 to 890 something, they've all raced. And if they were going to be, yeah, it does look like a Batmobile. I've got it up to 174 miles per hour. But so any car from 450 all the way to 894, all of those cars have raced. And if they were going to be our fastest cars, then they probably would be. But it means that they lost somewhere along the way. Now, we have had cars, most notably the Blitz Speeder, that raced, lost, came back, and won again. So it is possible. So when you go to AtTheTrack.live, you go to choose a car, and you're looking at the cars, then you do want to consider that if the car doesn't have the black background, then it's probably already raced and lost. So if we're going to find that sleeper car that's coming out of nowhere to beat the Blitz Speeder, it's probably going to be in that first group from number 1 to 450. So that's just a tip. But this car should, I don't remember how it did. If you want to see any of the old races, you can go to our YouTube channel and go to the live tab and look at the past episodes. I know that's how most people watch, but if you want to participate live, get in on the action, all you have to do is join us 11 a.m. Pacific on Saturdays, and we will be ready to race. So this is the Bugatti. The Bugatti, is this the, which one is this? Is this the Devo or is this the Bolide? I don't remember offhand, but I think the Windsible, we're not gaining as much information. Oh, look at this. Oh, so this one's moving. It's a cool little thing if you just were to have it on your desk, and and it's only $30 or so, $35, but the cars are not going to stay in the middle, and that is what we've seen. The other issue that I had last week is these little battery tabs. There's little tabs that need to be bent in and touch the battery to connect to get everything working. Those tabs are very flimsy, and you have to push them in to make sure that they make contact with the battery, and they just feel like you do that too often and it's going to break. But I've had to do it 3 or 4 times, and I just got this within the last month. So it is the Windsible. Christopher says he's going with the Bugatti, and I can't knock that as a choice, the Bugatti Bolide, and we are going to see if it can be one of our cars that's going to come back onto the track and have a better performance than it had in its first run. So that is completely possible. Now we're going to take a look at rough shot. Oh, here goes that camera again. Yeah, I really got to figure out what's going on with this thing. I picked up some smaller lights yesterday at Costco, and I'm going to try those out on Saturday and see if they prevent this camera from overheating. But here is the Scorpedo, which looks like it has faster than ever wheels, but I don't know if that is necessarily the case, or if it's just some cool 5-spoke wheels. But the Scorpedo, I think my concern before we saw it was the back end and what kind of launch it's going to get. And now I see, because at first, from the view we had, I thought that this part of the tail was the only part that was going to be sticking out and touching the launching blocks, but it turns out that is not the case, because it's got this little, I don't know even how to describe it. It's got that little scorpion's tail part, and that is what will be touching the launching block. Beyond that, I mean, the design is just, it's wild. Obviously, they were going for the scorpion look, which they definitely achieved. And then you look at the front of the car, and these two pinchers. What's going to happen here? I don't know why it keeps jumping out of focus. Lock it in. What's going to happen here when the air enters this area? Because it doesn't look like there's an opening. So the air is going to go here, and the question is, will it get trapped there, or is there some way, an opening that it can flow through? If it can flow through, that's probably the best case scenario. This is just wild. I don't even know what to expect in the wind tunnel. So let's go ahead and throw it in. Hey, Never Ending, how you doing? I pulled your car as well, the Solar Reflex, and we're going to find out if it is going to be able to be similar to the Blitz Beater and come back and win its race. All right, let's get this Scorpedo in there. It just fits, and that's the other thing with the Windsible. The Windsible lifts the cars up so high that now the taller cars are scraping against the top. So I don't even know if that's ideal. So yeah, this is definitely something that we are going to make adjustments to by next week. We're at 67 miles per hour right now, and it's pretty basic cruising speed. But what we are seeing is, because of that front, how the air is pulling up over the top, and so it's hitting right in the front, and then it's coming right up over that front canopy. We're still getting a lot of this smoke kind of distorting what we're seeing, because the first two streams are hitting that, at least the first stream is hitting the base of the Windsible, and then just pouring smoke up here, which kind of obscures the view. We're up to 147 miles per hour, and the car has been lifted up so high that this tail part is above even the top stream. And here we go. I talked about the little quirks with this Windsible. It just shut off, but usually we can just fire it right back up, and that is what we're going to do. So we're going to go build this back up. Have I tried it with the single stream? I have. You know what? I haven't. Okay. Yes, I did, but then with the single stream, the problem is it sits low. So if I were to put it in now, it would be down here somewhere and it wouldn't interact with the car. But I think we may go back to trying that. And it also, I think that the smoke was wider. So it was, you get kind of a different view. Roughshod was asking if I'd just used a single stream, if I'd tried it with that. So there are two nozzles that come with the Windsible. And so one is the one we're using now that has the 5 streams of smoke coming out. And we're pushing this up. This is up to 161 miles per hour. And that is, we're up to 174. And I think it's a little tough to tell, but I think with this car, it's not so much the back part that's going to be an issue. I think it's a question of how much drag is going to be created in the front in that little part with the little pinchers. Right in the front. We're not so much worried about the back, because everything in the back is like, even with this tail part, that's pretty narrow. That shouldn't create much of a problem. It's just a matter of what's happening here. And is that air getting trapped there? And will it work to slow the car down further down the track? The rest of it, I think would be fine. So this will be an interesting pick, and we'll see what happens with that one. Never ending. So I can't put the cars on the track now. I mean, I could, but you wouldn't see it because there's a whole other camera set up. There's like the three cameras that check that feed the track view are not connected. There's also like overhead lights. So really, before the races on Saturday, about an hour, really about 2 hours beforehand. So spend about an hour just cleaning the track, getting the lights set up, getting the cameras lined up, making sure that the track is straight, testing the launcher, all of that. Then the second hour I kind of spend just getting all the streaming software and everything set up, making sure all the transitions and cameras are feeding into the computer and all that. So it takes about 2 hours altogether to get it all set up. So Saturday is usually the only time we race. What I want to do is get up to a point where we can add in just some additional race shows where we're not necessarily just racing cars to get them in the fleet. Just having races, just kind of random races, but it's all baby steps. Started with AtTheTrack.live, then added Wind Tunnel Wednesdays, and so before I add a third thing in, I just want to kind of work with these, try to build them up, and make them as best, do them as best as possible. Now, this car that you're considering, the Solar Reflex, was one of our fastest in fleet cars, and the fact that there's nothing on the top of this car to interfere with the airflow is going to work, and definitely works in its favor, because just like the Blitzspeeder, what you're going to have is that airflow is going to travel, follow along the body of the car, and it is not going to separate it until it gets to this back end. And that's what you want to see, because you're able to reduce the impact of that pressure drag that's created when the airflow separates from the body of the car. And let's go and switch this in here. Why don't you use GoPro camera for live stream? Well, the funny thing is, I do have a GoPro, and the GoPros do heat up. They heat up and shut off. I have one that I use usually when I'm riding my bike. And I think the fact that it's moving and air is constantly hitting it keeps it from overheating. But I also had to rig up a little system to have a USB-C, or to have a battery pack and a USB-C cord going to the GoPro to keep it on, because otherwise it would only last for about 40 minutes at 4K. But no, these are, I think the camera that keeps shutting off is an iPhone maybe 10 or 11. So there's not really a reason that I'm aware of that it should be shutting off like that. But we'll see. Alright, so this one, we're up to 121 miles per hour. And we're going to push it to 147. And I think that of all the cars that we're talking about, this one has the potential to come back and do very well on the track. If you do end up going with this car, I can definitely see it being in the finals. I would expect it to be. If it didn't end up in the finals, if it didn't end up against the Blitzspeeder later on, I'd be shocked that if it, like, it should be there. There's no reason this should be. Oh no, when I said you got it wrong, I didn't mean motorcycle. I meant actual bike, like exercise, like cycling, a road bike. But with this car, again, the fact is there's nothing in the way, there's nothing interfering with that airflow, so it's going to reduce the amount of drag. And like I said, on our track, the most important thing a car can do is reduce the impact of drag. And for real cars, that's the whole point. That's the reason why these cars are designed the way they are. The hypercars, the supercars, they're trying to reduce the impact of drag. And in the case of like F1 cars, they're trying to increase downforce. But it's all about directing the airflow. So with this car, the fact that it doesn't have anything right here obscuring the airflow, this is perfect. This is why, one of the reasons why this car was our fastest in fleet champion. Now it was beaten by some car. I don't remember which car beat it, if it was the Track Tune or the Drag, what was that car? Dragnator, whatever it was. There's that pickup truck that was our fastest in fleet car. It's also an X-Racer's car. We're up to 174 miles per hour. And again, I think this car will absolutely be in the finals against the Blitzspeeder if you pick it. But, it's kind of it's one of those things. It was definitely beaten by some car. Otherwise, it would be our fastest in fleet car. But we are just going to have to see. We're up to 188 miles per hour. And this is it. I mean, there's not really much more to say or much more that can be seen about this car. So we're going to find out on Saturday if this in fact is the car that Never Ending decides to go with. It looks like Roughshod is going to stick with the Scorpedo, and Christopher is going with the Bugatti. We will see. I don't know if Virgo ends up picking another car. The car that she picked last week absolutely came through and was fast, but we will find all of that out. We have 894 cars for you to choose from. Just go to AtTheTrack.live, select the choose a car option, scroll through, find the car you want to race. On Saturday, go back to AtTheTrack.live, use the Twitch stream link or the YouTube stream link at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, and join us. And you can see how your car is going to do right there. If you want to pick a car, but you can't watch live, you can send me a DM on Instagram, Aerodynamics, and I will pull your car, enter it into the tournament, and we'll see how it does. So this is what we do. Race Hot Wheels cars on Wednesdays, put the cars in the wind tunnel, take a little bit more of a scientific look at it. And next week I will have removed the Windsible. I'll have something else in place. So it's all about experiments. It's like I tell the students, you conduct an experiment, you make an adjustment, keep going until you get different results or the results you're looking for. And so we started off with the cars on the floor of the Windsible, and that wasn't really working out. We put them in the Runsible. That's raised them up too high and created some other problems. So now we're going to try something else. And we'll see back here on Wednesday how things turn out. We are running up against Instagram has put in a hard stop at 1 hour, so we've got a couple of minutes left. But if you would like more information about our science program, all about aerodynamics and how to bring it to your school, your organization, or your special event, then all you have to do is go to our website, aerodynamics.com, or you can find us on Instagram, aerodynamics, and all the information you need is right there in the bio. Join us at AtTheTrack.live Saturdays at 11 a.m. Pacific. All the old episodes are on our YouTube page under the Live tab. They're right there. And we'll be back here Wednesday to put more cars into the wind tunnel. So, for At The Track Live, for All About Aerodynamics, and for Wind Tunnel Wednesday, I am Coach James. And until next time, I will see you at the races.